Hey fam. So today I wanted to talk about achievement versus alignment. And I just got to have a really deep meditation and traveling session with the Pleiadians. And I learned so much and it answered so many of the questions I've been having myself about taking inspired action and how to step out of that self-sabotaging behavior. Because I'm not perfect. I still have my own. And I feel like I'm stuck in several areas of my life right now where I'm like right there. Like it just doesn't feel like it's satisfying. But what I learned today just unlocked everything for me. And it started from listening to one of Feel Good Life's old lives as well, which kind of started to spark me. And then that led me into the meditation where I got even more of an in-depth answer from the Pleiadians. So what I want to talk about first is how do you know when you're operating out of ego or when you're trying to just achieve versus acting authentically? Because that is what we're here to do. We are literally here to be our most authentic self. To be in that place of ease and allowing our soul, allowing source, God, whatever you believe in, universe, to flow through us clearly, unfiltered by our human self. The programs that we have downloaded within us is the word that's coming to mind, like imprinted within us. These lower frequency programs and timelines that we have kept in our bodies because we don't know how to step out of them, how to choose a different timeline that matches who we are. So we know that when we're operating out of ego and achieving, when we feel in this place of tiredness, so feeling very unmotivated and tired, we know when we're trying to chase things, like we're so focused on the outcome that we find it this feeling very choppy and just like you're trying, like efforting. It feels, what they're telling me too is you feel a lot of anger. You feel a lot of anxiety, unease, because you always feel like you need to do something because you're holding back your truth. You're holding yourself back from your divinity, meaning that place of just flow. That place when you're just happy and having fun and letting go and detaching from the situation. Those moments, maybe for me, it's like, for me, it's sex, it's meditation, it's channeling, it's working out. It's just being with people I love and just not trying to be anything other than who I am in that moment. It's not thinking. That's the difference between alignment and aligning versus trying to achieve. Because when you're trying to achieve, you're operating and keeping yourselves in these lower frequency loops. The lower timelines, because we are multidimensional beings. We have limitless timelines available to us within us. And our alignment, our home frequency, the version of us that's the observer and not the human self, that higher mind or soul, whatever you believe in. That alignment naturally calls us. So when we are out of alignment, it gets louder and louder and louder. And that's when we feel that anxiety build. That's when we feel like it was not right. And we feel like we need to do more and all those things that keep us in those timelines. But the more that we try to get out of those timelines, meaning the more we try and get out of debt, instead of stepping into abundance. We keep ourselves in that timeline loop, and we just keep making choices in that energy that we're playing in. So we keep ourselves in that story. And we have different timelines and stories for every aspect of our life. And so the more that we're operating from those programs, meaning that we're thinking, the more filtered our soul source and our true authentic frequency is as it's trying to move through us. So the question that they kept telling me, and what Phil talked about too, and I'll have to put that in the link or something below this, because it's a really great video to watch, and I'm all about passing things on. So asking yourself, is this divine? Whenever you're feeling stuck in those self-sabotaging behaviors or those lower frequency timelines, is what it really is. Those programs that keep calling you back. Like as soon as you get an epiphany and you're just like, yeah, then you go to integrate it and that lower timeline calls you. And they're always going to call you until you starve them out and let them fall away. Because they need your energy more than you need them. So asking yourself, is this divine? Remembering your divinity is a key step in allowing yourself to detach from that lower frequency timeline and that program. You know, it started for me before even all this, is I always ask myself, is this me? Which is kind of like the next step, I guess. Before divinity, is like that always has felt good to me, especially when I was struggling with my gender dysmorphia for a bit, where I realized I didn't really fit into female or male. You know, for a long time that really bothered me, and because I have a female body that I love, but I always felt like my soul didn't match my body, and that was just programming. And the more I tried to figure it out by thinking, the more entangled in it I became, until I simply asked myself one day, what feels like me? What if I don't have to try and be male or try and be female, but what feels like me? That like third door. And that's what really helped me move out of that, is just recognizing I don't have to be either. I'm just being me. And that entails female and male. So that's just an example. Instead of trying to work my way out of it, I asked, what feels like me? And I allowed source just to work through me. I gravitated toward things that resonated. I didn't overthink it. I didn't ask myself, was this a man thing to do or a woman thing to do? That's all programming that waters down your soul's expression through you. And that is why you feel so not you. It's hard to explain, but it feels like you're hiding things. It feels like you need to release. You just want to be, like you just feel so repressed. And I lived most of my life like that. I'd find like these pockets of when I felt free, but then they quickly go away. And that's when I realized, especially more than ever today, our soul purpose, that's what came out of me right now, soul purpose, is to allow all of ourselves through. It's self-mastery. Meaning, what I received yesterday was your soul source energy is the music, and you are the dancer. The more you're in what they call this 0 point, meaning you're not trying, you're not chasing, you're nothing. You're in this moment, here and now. You're not operating under programs. You're strictly divinity. You're in that place of alignment and allowing the music to move you. Because you don't think when you're dancing. If you think when you're dancing, it's all choppy, it's weird, and it's not flowing. But when you let the music move you, when you stop thinking and just get into your body, you automatically move. And the same thing goes with every aspect of your life. When you let your soul and divinity guide you, and stop thinking. Get into that 0 point where you can recognize this feeling of peace, this feeling of not needing to try, this feeling of being the student, not needing to control anything. It's the ultimate place of freedom and peace. You feel it in meditation. You feel it in just doing things you enjoy. And it's this very unique space where you're just here. You're here and now, and you're ready to allow who you are through. Because the universe really does want what you want. It just needs you to meet it halfway. Meaning, what that means is when you get these impulses, when you get these urges that feel freeing to you, that feel like you, follow them. When you get those whispers in your ear, those downloads, act on it. That is you meeting the universe halfway, your guides, your soul and God halfway. Because you're always being given what you need. But most of us are so used to operating from that fear-based programming that we don't listen. We just continue to fight our way, trying to get out of this it's like quicksand, right? The more you fight, the more you sink into it. So the best way to go about it is just to remind yourself, I'm divine. And my only job is to allow my divinity through. Because the universe wants to be expressed through me. And it's not to say like you're being like possessed or anything. It's not to say that you're not an active participant in what is occurring. But it's understanding your role in it. Meaning you are the vibrational being. Meaning you work with vibration. When you allow yourself to tune to that vibration of allowing and dancing, right? Dancing with your soul. Allowing it to be expressed fully through you without hiding any of it. That is your work, and you get to experience the best of every moment. You know, it's just like what my dad used to tell me. If it's not fun anymore, don't do it. He always used to tell me that. If it's not fun anymore, don't do it. That's the same for life. If it's not fun anymore, ask yourself, what's stopping all of me from coming through? What doesn't feel right to me? What energy am I playing with? Am I operating from my highest frequency, or am I playing with those lower frequencies? You know, and a good example that Phil used in his live was when you want to call a friend and you're bored and you don't know what to talk about, so you immediately start talking about like what's going on in the world and complaining about it or complaining about things. That's those lower frequencies calling you down because you're trying to escape that boredom. And we have limitless choices to choose from to talk about, but you choose to complain. You know, I'm guilty of this too. I do it all the time. And that's the choice we have in every moment, though. In every moment, especially lately, I've been dealing with this fear and this feeling of needing to do something, and especially around like money and my work, where I'm trying. Like I'm trying to get out of something. And this was a really great reminder of my only job is to be present in the moment, to be that 0 point of just my soul, and allowing myself, my true self through, which is my soul, which is the divine. And most of all, trusting myself as much as I trust the universe. Because that's the thing, I haven't trusted myself. I haven't trusted the messages that I've been receiving. I've been second guessing myself, where I get an impulse and I think about it so long that I lose the inspiration to do it. I talk myself out of it. And that's why it's important to be in that place of presence and not thinking. The moment you start to try and figure it out, that should be your first clue to zoom back out. Like, oh, I'm in a program again. I need to get back into alignment, back to that 0 point, back to my divinity. Because it's about merging your human self with your divine self. because your human self holds all this baggage, this lower frequency baggage that oftentimes, like I said before, filters or clouds your true authentic frequency from shining through. And it's in that frequency where everything you desire, everything you truly are, is able to manifest through you. So by basically unfragmenting yourself, meaning you're not trying to hide anything, you're accepting all of yourself, you're allowing yourself to become whole again and operate from that wholeness rather than having all these lower frequency programs pulling you in all these different directions. And that explains also why when you make a decision to make a change in your life and you immediately sabotage yourself, like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. It's about observing that self-sabotage, those lower frequency timelines, and then choosing to pull out, to observe it, to ask yourself, is this divine? What's my divine self telling me in this situation? Allowing yourself to be the student and not need to control everything, because that is your control. What energy you're playing with. You are the vibrational Jedi in that way. So you don't have to try and control the circumstances because you're controlling the energy that you're allowing through you to create a different circumstance. And basically understanding your role here is really key. Because for me, in a personal level, I felt myself battling, having that inner battle between a lot of different things, actually. It was between like my doubt in myself and believing in myself, my divinity, and, even my gender, like male, female, like all these things pulling me in different directions. With money, I knew I was divine and abundant, but then these fears of lack would pull me back. And when you sense that battle within you, and you oftentimes feel it as anxiety, understand that that is just you operating in a lower frequency. And all you have to do is step back into your wholeness, step back into that divinity, the observer, and remember that you get to choose the timelines you operate on. Every shift in emotion, every shift in choice, every shift in thought is that easy to shift out of a timeline. And it really is about just choosing you again and again and again. So whether you see that as your divine self or just you, whatever feels better to you. Is this me? Does this feel like it's natural to me? Or does it feel like I'm trying? Believing in your desires more than your fears. Because your desires are your authentic frequency knocking at you. It's trying to pull you back into that higher frequency, that highest timeline. But when you doubt, that is one of those lower frequency timelines or programs that is calling you. So it's time to ask yourself, what is pulling me out of alignment, out of my divinity? What is making me feel inauthentic? What am I trying to hide from myself and others? And then asking yourself too, what in my life does feel natural to me? What in my life does bring me into that 0 point or divine self? Because it's not about shifting circumstances. That's your human self. Not being able to accept something, always trying to control, always wanting more. That is your human self. But the fact is, you don't need to chase anything. Because you're already whole. All you have to do is choose a different aspect of yourself that you want to experience. And that's what operating in your divine frequency does. And that's what detachment means. It's detaching from those timelines. It's not giving up on your desires. If you're not like, oh my gosh, I really need this, that doesn't mean you don't want it. When you're in a place of, I like that, I know it's coming, I know that this desire feels good, and I can let it happen. It's already done. There's already a timeline happening right now with me having it. And I'm choosing to allow my authentic frequency to align me with that timeline. That's very different than saying, fuck it, I don't care anymore, I'm not going to have it. That's different. And that's something that has been very challenging for me to navigate as an achiever all my life. I'm learning how to be more in alignment rather than trying to achieve. Because I've been addicted to that chase. I was always chasing things to run from those insecurities within myself. So, the best thing you can do right now is be completely transparent. Start practicing that freedom of not thinking and just allowing yourself to be you. Because most of us are so afraid to do that because we have so much baggage that we feel we need to hide. And so it keeps us from just allowing, from not thinking so much. Just allowing ourselves to speak like I am now. I didn't have a plan of what I was going to say. I just had a title in my head of alignment versus achievement. That's it. I'm just allowing myself to express right now. And that is putting me in that place of 0. Meaning I'm neutral. I'm in the perfect alignment of allowing source to move through me. And the more often we can operate from this, the more whole we will feel inside and out. The more our outer reality will reflect what is us. So less lack, less things that anger us, less things that make us feel like we need to chase or that we're not enough. Because we're operating out of our wholeness and having that reflected back to us. And yeah, if you want to know more about this programming, I also channeled Tupac last week and I finally got the video uploaded. It took a bit, but if you want to check out that too, he talks about something similar around, using his mind to get out of the ghetto, as he says. So if you want to learn about that, that's on my channel as well. If you dug this, feel free to subscribe or share or like. If not, that's cool too. But I love you all, and I will see you guys next time.